Togo joining the AEC. This is great news, fellas. Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Then Togo. Things are getting bigger, fellas. Let's watch this. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. It's always a great pleasure. Thank you, fellas. I mean, this is the right place. You want to know about Africa? You're at the right place. You want to know what's happening in Uganda? You are at the right place. You want to know what's happening in Kenya, Tanzania? You are at the right place. You want to know what's happening in Nigeria? You are at the right place. You want to know what's happening in South Africa? Even though many people don't like it when you talk about South Africa. But I see you, fellas. Thank you for all the South Africans that are on the channel. You're very much appreciated. I know we won't always, agree on everything, and that's okay. That's fine, provided we do things with respect. The boundaries of, don't forget the good things people say when they say one thing you don't like. Okay, let's go. So, we are at Togo. Here's Togo. Here's a map. I'm going to show you the map because I know a lot of you don't know geography. Yes, here's Togo. Beautiful place, lovely people. I've been there before. Great culture. Amazing. They have a lot of beliefs, African belief. You heard about voodoo? You usually say voodoo, but it's called voodoo. This is voodoo in Togo. You're going to call it many names. Some people say it's witchcraft. Some people say a lot of things. But their spiritual belief, they believe in these entities. They believe in many things. They believe there is a god of iron. Okay, the god of iron is the one that causes accident. Okay, they believe if somebody doesn't like you, or if you happen to steal something from somebody and somebody cries to the god of iron against you, my brother, you're going to have a very bad accident. You're most likely not going to come out alive, because apparently the god of iron loves blood. There is a god of fertility. He has a big wood. I'm not going to say. Anyway, so Togolese people have their culture. It's part of the culture. They believe in it. That stuff that you see moving, there's no human inside. No human is inside. You can pull it off. You see that thing spinning, running? There's nothing. They just pray for that thing. It starts running. I'm telling you. And don't try to go open it. Anyway, let's get back on track. Great people have spent some of the most beautiful time. I mean, that's why I always encourage you, fellas. Go see the next African country. Go visit. Don't sit there and say, my country. Me and my country, I ate white bread with... You need to see... In order for you to understand the world, you need to understand what's happening in the next country. Not from things you see on TV. Okay, it's not accurate. All right, let's get back on track. Great people, lovely people. Okay, now, these are the three countries that are the superstars in Africa. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. You know them. Why? Because they decided to kick out the colonialists out of the country. How do they have the colonialists? Well, the colonialists came before 1960. They took over Africa. As you can see, these are French African-speaking countries. How did they become French African-speaking countries? Because France, okay? France came all the way to Africa and took over all these countries. How did they do it? With weapons. They had gunshots. At the time, Africans did not have gunshots. Therefore, they had the superiority in terms of armament. That is how they unalived many African people and took these lands. Now, could they have done it by themselves? Well, no. Why? Because some Africans were corrupt. They were promised money and success and many other things. Those Africans are the one that guided these French people into taking over all these countries. And another reason, because those Africans didn't like the neighbor. You don't like the neighbor. You're ready to make a deal with the devil so you can get the neighbor overthrown. Not saying French are the devil. I'm just giving you an example. Okay. Anyway, now these three countries with these leaders, you can see their soldiers say they don't want colonialism anymore. Why? Because the French, after independence in 1960, made all these French-speaking countries sign a piece of paper saying, we can still keep our military on your ground, on your land. And number two, we're going to be printing your money, your currency. Yes, this currency right here. You heard me correctly. The money that's used in these French African countries, most of these are Western African countries, it's called the CFA franc. Now, the CFA franc is still being printed in France before being sent to Africa for African use. But you cannot buy a piece of bread with the CFA franc in France. So it has no value in France. Yeah. but it's millions in Africa. Now, get me, once I'm printing your money, I can easily get your economy going up and going down whenever I like, right? Anyway, now, the big question was asked to the foreign minister of Togo, whether Togo would consider joining the AEC, which is the Alliance of States of Sahel. And the minister was very clear. He says, for me, it's not impossible, but it's the decision of the president of the republic first. It's also a decision of the Togolese parliament. If parliament decide that Togo must join AEC countries, why would Togo not do so? I will surprise you. Ask the Togolese population if Togo wants to join the AEC, and you will see their answer. They will tell you yes. So yes. Fellas, let me remind you here, these three countries were at some point blocked from doing any business. I can explain. You can see they are inland countries, so they have no border to the sea. The sea is very important. Many people don't know that. Why is the sea important? The sea is very important because you need the sea to do business, okay? Imagine you want to buy goods coming from China, a lot of it, okay? Cars and stuff like that. There are two ways to bring the cars and the stuff. You can either bring it by aeroplane, okay, which is going to be very, very expensive and very limited in terms of capacity, or you can bring it through the sea with ships, okay? But the ships is big. You can bring a lot of things. Now, when you have the sea, a coast or side in your country, it makes it easy for you. But the countries that inland locked countries have to cooperate with the countries that are on board of the sea so they can get their stuff moving. However, all these countries down here, part of the ECOWAS, don't like these three countries. Why don't they like them? They don't like them because they toppled their president. They changed the president in an undemocratic way. They used weapons to do it. But did they unalive the president? No, they did not unalive the president because they came in peace. Their goal was to just take over the country because they felt like those presidents were not doing what they were supposed to do as president. They were not looking after the people. Now, these other countries were upset, especially the presidents. Why? Because they felt like if we allow them to do that, they're going to be inspiring our population into rising up against us. That's how a dictator thinks. Let me protect my power. The best way to protect my power, I need to punish the guy that just attacked his leader, even though the leader was not necessarily a nice person. Now, that's what happened. When these countries blocked those three countries from exporting and importing, they were clapping hands saying, okay, we're going to see how they're going to survive. They're going to suffer, okay? Within a week or so, the population will be very angry and they will come down the street and they will topple them, okay? Now, that's never happened. Why did that never happen? Because Malian people supported their brand new government. They were behind them. They say, hey, we've had enough too. We're going to support you. Now, in the meantime, Togo played the middle ground when these countries were trying to attack Niger and destroy. Togo say, okay, we can be the middleman, okay? Can we sit down and never talk? Whilst these other French-speaking African nations who are slaves of the French, sorry to say that, but most of them don't even know their own languages. They will laugh at you if your French is broken, okay? They will laugh at you even more if you speak in your own language. That's how sad that is. If you speak a good French, they go, oh, you sound very intelligent. Crazy. Anyway, get back on track. Now, the Togolese went to see these three countries and say, let's have a talk in a very nice way. Okay? And that created, built the rapprochement between Togo and all these countries. And to the benefit of Lomé, now Niger is already using Togo's port to export. Niger used to send things through Benin. Can you see the map? That's Niger. Here's Benin. Most of the things coming from Niger to be exported had to go through Benin. But Benin president said he doesn't want that. He blocked the way. And Niger have petrol, a lot of oil that they used to export. At some point, Benin refused to let Niger export the oil because they were not talking to each other, like little girls. But Togo said, okay, we cool, and Niger is now exporting things past Togo. Now, that's negative for Benin because now Benin has lost business, because when I'm doing things through your port, I'm certainly paying some money. When your people are coming through my people to steal bananas, carrots and small things, food, they're making some money. So there's no burden from the population to the government. But now that they have closed the border, that cannot happen anymore. Okay, so now Togo is profiting from this opportunity to grow. So my question to you is this before we close. How do you feel about that? You know, Benin said, we don't want to let you export your stuff through our port because you are undemocratic. Okay, you didn't do an election. Okay, you toppled the president. Therefore, we're not going to allow you. Niger said, okay, that's fine, no problem. Now, month later, the Beninese people started suffering because they used to cross the border and sell food, sell things, get this, get that. Some of them even had the side chicks on that side. It's become very difficult because you're not getting anything from the side chick. People got very angry at the government. Now, the government of Benin is trying to knock at the door of Niger, say, please, allow us in. And the Niger said, no, you refuse, that's fine, you can stay that way. No, and then the president came out and made a speech. No, it's unacceptable. You cannot do this. Open the border. But you closed the border, my brother, because you wanted to please the French. Now, Niger has accused Benin of hosting French soldiers. After Niger kicked out the French soldiers, Benin apparently, allegedly, as per Niger, is hosting French soldiers that are staying there. They're hiding. They're just waiting for the right opportunity to pounce on Niger and overthrow the government. Because France has been accused many times of overthrowing African leaders that they deem are not favorable to them. That's why Niger refused to open the border. And the Beninese said, we know there's no French here. The Niger said, no, we know they're there. We even know where they're sitting. We know because obviously they got intelligence from the Russians. Let me know how you feel about this. Is Togo a good move? Now, I mean, is this the way most African countries need to go to get their freedom? Is this a good move or is Togo making a mistake? I want to know from you. God bless.